The work is called condensate. It is the term that oil and gas industry uses for the raw natural gas upon its extraction. The extraction of gas and the pipelines that were used as a mean of the expansion of commercial entities, and also as a mean of changing of legal status quos in the countries where the pipelines were to go through. In my country, the law on expropriation was modeled very much on the immediate post-war relationship between the state and the private person and its ownership. The ownership of the land ultimately is interpreted in this law as it belongs to the state. The state has positioned itself as a partner to a large foreign conglomerate, Gazprom, for the pipeline called the South Stream, which is now defunct and it's been abandoned. And along the line of that pipeline, the new laws and the new relations were established to enable the formation of that commercial entity. The facts on the ground that were actually created were never fulfilled so far in reality, but they have set the stage and set a legal precedent for the way that the land is transferred from the people back to the hands of the state. And that is the expropriation, which is the law which stipulates that the state determines the value of the land without recourse and without redress, and the state also is setting the terms for the buyouts, and it positions itself as a partner to a foreign country and a foreign company, and not as a representative of its own people which have elected it. So the governments have done their own circle of political and economic preparations for this project, but these preparations have enabled other projects to take place as well. Along the lines of some 400 kilometers of projected pipeline to Serbia, I have taken a series of photographs of the landscapes of the places that were to be expropriated for the project. I have superimposed over them the statements of the foreign ministers of Russia about Serbia, its sovereignty and their relation to it. And I have also interviewed the people who live along that line on their knowledge of even the term of expropriation. Those interviews and these answers I have put together as a series of videos with the statements on corporate responsibility, resourcefulness, and corporate security of the Austrian partner in the project, the OMV. Unlike Serbia, which was fulfilling the obligations of the contracts it signed vis-à-vis Gazprom in 2008, OMV has entered the project as a partner during the war between Russia and Ukraine, and also in contravention to the European energy policies and the European Energy Commission. In this way, Austrian company and the states have affected the outcome of every legal precedent that was set for that pipeline. They have affected as a vested interest that something that should be done and brought to be executed or fulfilled in Austria has to make changes along the way over thousands of kilometers of a group of states that comprised Hungary, Serbia, Bulgaria in the least, but also the others. And as such, it has shown this sort of lack of sensitivity combined with the subservience to the foreign dominant power, which is reminiscent of the different times. Austrian history and the politics were also in many instances, especially during 50s and 60s, dependent on the opinion of Russia and on the terms of the Russian exit from Austria. And in that way, it resembled slightly the terms that Finland had, but without the component of representing and fighting for its own independence, which Finland had been doing. So without these traditions and without these values, both transitory societies, Serbian much more than the Austrian one, will be changed even without this project being completed. And what I wanted to bring here was set of opinions and set of conditions that were left with the current state of affairs.